Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Uh, Hope everything's all well with you. Uh, just sitting here, just chilling, and wanted to make this video. It's dealing with politics, and this is I'm going to show you DeSantis and his Ramaswamy, but I'm going to tell you what's behind the real politics. Um, and this is called David Freeman video.
We're here for the hard way.
And it's called
The
White
long way.
Nationalist.
Whether at its worst,
Mike Pence says.
8 miles out. We're here
Mike
for
Pence
starting
that's running
at the
for
bottom
president.
and committing to a sport that can.
Here we're heading back home to our origins, the antebellum South, ancient Rome, where there were two types of people, the privileged elite and the slaves. We're heading back home. We're heading back home. Our minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. It hasn't been raised since July.
I'm getting to the part where we talk about Mike Pence.
To help the least among us. No, with Mike Pence, it's all about sadism. Mike Pence is a sadist. We already know he hates the LGBTQ community. He's responsible for persecuting the LGBTQ community throughout the country, and especially when he was governor of Indiana, when he passed a bill that resulted in countless suicides inside Indiana's LGBTQ community. But over the weekend, Mike Pence appeared at a Republican gala in North Carolina to assure Republican primary voters that he's just not about punishing the LGBTQ community. He's also a white nationalist.
Will give our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the support they need to accomplish their mission. We will end the political correctness in the hallways of the Pentagon, and North Carolina will once again be home to Fort Bragg.
White nationalist, Christian, white nationalist. There's the solution that he never served in the military. That is white nationalist, not just the homophobe, but the white nationalist, the white Christian nationalist, Mike Pence, one of the most dangerous people in America. Mike Pence is a sadist, and sadists tend to go after the most vulnerable in our community. That's why he targets the LGBTQ community. And he's a racist, pure and simple. So, he wants to return Fort Bragg to its original name. This is a big issue in North Carolina. It's a dog whistle. If you're for changing Fort Bragg's name back to Fort Bragg, you're saying, I hate black people, and that's how you win votes in the Republican primary. Fort Bragg's name was officially changed on October 6, 2022, to Fort Liberty after a string of orders within the Pentagon under Joe Biden ruled that any military installation honoring Confederate generals must be called something else. Now, Fort Bragg, as I said, was named after Confederate General Braxton Bragg. During the Civil War, he fought for the South, and not well. He was defeated in the Battle of Chattanooga by General Ulysses S. Grant, and he is considered by most military experts to have been a horrible tactician, which explains why his soldiers tried to assassinate him. On two separate occasions. He is one of the reasons the South lost. Idiot. Hardly the person whose name should be attached to one of America's most important military installations. So why celebrate a loser? Why call it Fort Bragg? Racism and sadism to terrorize African Americans who live in North Carolina, to remind them they're outsiders. He also owned at least 100 slaves. He was an enemy combatant. He fought for the Confederacy. Naming the United States military installation Fort Bragg is tantamount to naming it Fort Goering. The military should not be naming places after our enemies. But Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis have nothing to offer voters other than cruelty, sadism. So they are making this the issue to run on in North Carolina. If you can't give voters good paying union jobs, health care, or a decent education, give them someone to hate. Give them sadism. Make black people feel uncomfortable. Mike Pence should be careful throwing his lot in with people who think the old Confederacy was about preserving a noble way of life. The Confederate flag seen here was carried into the Capitol on January 6th by the very same people who were looking for Mike Pence to hang him. Like I keep reminding you, and I'll be doing this till they change, the Republican Party doesn't believe in governing, because that means making rich people pay taxes. So Republicans preach hatred and intolerance, and they create imaginary enemies to serve as scapegoats. There is nothing the Republicans offer that makes anyone's life better. What they offer instead is making someone else's life a lot worse, like members of the LGBTQ community. This is college dropout Charlie Kirk, who runs the Christian nationalist Turning Points USA, which is primarily funded by wealthy members of the religious right with ties to the fossil fuel industry. Now, Turning Points USA wants to replace CPAC. CPAC's in trouble. Turning Points USA think...
I just want to show that point.
Astapro. No allergy spray is faster. Steroid-free allergy relief that starts working in 30 minutes. While other
Black people, pay attention. Anybody pay attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ron DeSantis returns to Florida to address the recent shooting at a Dollar General down there in Jacksonville, where 3 of our brothers and a sister was killed. 2 men and 1 woman, all of them from the melanated community, were killed. So he went down to address the area, and the councilwoman was there. He got heckled, he got booed. Even when he was leaving after he got finished making his speech, people were still booing, especially a man behind him. Oh, that man was going off. He wanted you to see him booing Ron DeSantis. But I don't care what anybody say. As far as I'm concerned, Ron DeSantis has been stoking the flames of racism down there in Florida. And, you can say, no, he's not like that. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Along with many others in this country that are on that same bandwagon. You're like that too. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video so you can see exactly what happened to him when he tried to address the crowd.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the Councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside, cause it ain't about parties today. A bullet don't know a party, so don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ian is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts, because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
So we have already identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Faison. We're going to be announcing some stuff tomorrow morning, which I think will help not only with security, but also an attempt to help these families. The fact of the matter is, you had a major league scumbag come from Clay County up here, and what he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida.
He's a racist. Right.
We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. We are going to stand up, and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida. And that means we are going to work with Edward Waters so that they have whatever security they need. In Florida, we've already given a lot of money to Jewish day schools because they've been targeted with anti-Semitism. Well, let me tell you this. You are not going to target HBCUs in the state of Florida and get away with it. We're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to let it happen. And we thank what everybody's done, TK, the mayor, and just know that the state of Florida stands with the community. Help is on the way. God bless you all.
That's right. Boo. That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly hear in the video where Ron DeSantis was jeered and booed and even heckled. People do not like this man down there. I guess he's not as popular as you think. Crowd boos Ron DeSantis at Jacksonville shooting prayer vigil. So we know he's been out there campaigning for the 2024 presidential election, and it's now well known that the shooting at a Dollar General in Jacksonville was racially motivated. And now Ron DeSantis went to address a crowd that gathered for a prayer vigil, and they were not happy to see him.
I don't blame them.
No, they weren't. So the shooter has been identified as Ryan Christopher Palmater, and he ended up shooting himself at the Dollar General along with the other people he killed. So the victims have been identified: 52-year-old Angela Michelle Carr, 19-year-old Anault Joseph, also known as AJ Lagare Jr., and 29-year-old Gerald Deshaun Gallion. So those are the victims. All of them are from our community. And wow, what a shame. So Ron DeSantis, people, they ain't feeling this man. They're not feeling him, and you can tell. And you can get this, just the feeling from the crowd. They really didn't want him there at all. They didn't want him there.
No.
So, the FBI is investigating the shooting as a hate crime. And Newsweek, they also reached out for comment from Ron DeSantis representatives. And it just goes over him running for president. I could care less about that. That has nothing to do with anything.
That's his motive.
So
that's his motive. That's why he showed up.
As you could see, the vigil
used her to get the votes.
Attendees, they were not happy. They started getting loud and booing Ron DeSantis, and that's when she took the mic and told them to put their parties aside and listen to the governor. So they got quiet, but towards the end, when he was walking off, they start booing again. Wow. I mean, this is so sad. And looked like a lot of people turned out too. There was a lot of people that came out for this one. So he just stood there and condemned it and talked about it was a deranged scumbag and all that stuff, and then talk about what he's gonna do to support the community, and addressing the councilwoman that was there. My prayers go out to the families of the victims. Nobody should walk into a store and end up dead. And it's a coward move. Catching people off guard and killing them, it's cowardly. No matter how you look at it, only a coward would do such a thing. So y'all, please tell me what you think.
I'm going to show you how racist these people are. So when it comes to voting, I'm showing you what they're really about. What that man was saying.
What's up, family? You're gonna love this one. Republican candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy, whatever. This nut job suggested on Monday that colleges should, in part, screen applicants based on their physical fitness. In a 190-word screed on Twitter, Ramaswamy said he believes that colleges and universities will deprioritize applicants' standardized test scores when reviewing applications in the wake of the Supreme Court's recent rulings against affirmative action practices. Instead, relying on subjective factors. To combat this, check out what this damn fool said. He suggested that the College Board should add a physical fitness section to the SAT instead of just math and reading sections, and noted that the section could possibly include the former presidential fitness test, which included a 1-mile run, sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and more. Roman Polanski then lost his mind. This dude is a A1 clown. Because he got mixed reviews, he made sure to include in his post that the proposal was not part of his platform. See, let me tell you who I blame this on. I blame this on Americans. That's right, I said it. I blame it on you. Why? because y'all let Trump in. When you let a super dummy lead, you're gonna always have adverse results. The bar is so low to the floor it can't go no more. I was certain with all of the intelligent people in America, all of the educated people in America, the qualified people to manage in America, there was no way possible that they would let Trump in. But once Trump got in with his super dummy ass, everybody thought, like, damn it, if he can get it, if he can do it, I can do it. If he can be president, I can be president. And you saw it. All the dummies coming out of everywhere, even Kanye West ran. That's because Trump got in. If they had kept the qualifications, the criteria to become president up here, you wouldn't have had all of these people, all these weirdos trying to run. Now, I'm not saying some of the presidents have not been weirdos. And we got at least one who, I hear they say had fantasies of being with a man. Yeah. He had several who have been slave owners. So they got weirdos. Yeah, they got former weirdos. But Trump was a new level weirdo. That's right, I said it. I know you Trumpettes don't like it. You Trumpettes. When I say Trumpettes, I'm talking about the women and the men. Because the men act like women who like him. They be riding that sack. I mean, they be on that sack. They surfing on that sack. But Trump said, let me lick him, did I lick him for today? They be on him, boy. I never seen so many supposedly smart people follow such a dumb guy in my life. If I'm gonna follow somebody, I'm gonna follow somebody who I at least believe can teach me something. Somebody I can learn something from. Anyway, fam, yeah, this dude, Ramen Noodles, he's a trip. The dude is mentally ill. He needs to be checked into a hospital. Then he going around singing Eminem songs, Lose Yourself. He all off beat, sounding like a clown. Eminem lawyer sent him a cease and desist. Stop performing my song on the campaign trail. Clown, just a straight up clown. This dude is an embarrassment to all of India. I mean, an embarrassment. See, in India, he can't go back there because they'll probably do something to him. See, you can't just, them people got pride out there. They wouldn't allow that. But in America, oh man, America's a cesspot. Oh man, you can do anything. Accept anything. Be any kind of person.
You get that
It's
right.
uncivilized mutts all over this country. And a lot of them are in leadership positions. Tesla Figaro said that him saying that we need a fitness section is a dog whistle, correlating it to slavery, saying since they're gonna take away affirmative action and replace it with a fitness session, a fitness section, meaning that because black people are known to be stronger, physically more fit, physically stronger than everybody else. So y'all want to make it even? Throw some fitness in there. And of course, he wasn't serious about that because if they did, I wouldn't be mad about it because you know what's going to happen. Anyway, fam, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
You see how much how
Retire
he is?
a millionaire? Is this yearly?
Okay.
This is another embarrassing.
The woman that you're staring at on your screen right now is City Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman from District 10 of Jacksonville, Florida, who who is a Democrat. The reason that I want to highlight her today is because I want to give her all of the attention she wants and needs, and hopefully so much so to the point that her political career is finished. Now, what I want you to do is sit back and take a few minutes to watch this video of Ron DeSantis being booed in Jacksonville, Florida, as he attempts to speak at a candlelight vigil which was dedicated to those slain by a white supremacist in a dollar store. Watch how as Ron DeSantis is booed, to which Jacoby Pittman steps in and curses out her own constituents who are grieving for the losses in their community and expressing their grievances by booing a man who many can strongly argue is responsible for the white supremacist execution that took place by way of his numerous dog whistling tactics by passing a multitude of anti-black racist legislation, which signals to some white supremacists, almost as if they are sleeper cells, activates a chip within them, you can say, which then leads to them carrying out heinous acts like what just took place in Jacksonville. Now let's watch as Miss Jacoby Pittman comes to the rescue of Ron DeSantis, once again cursing out her own constituents who are grieving so that she can secure gifts for herself. Don't believe me? Well, let's watch and see.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is here. We're going to ask the governor if he would come down and bring remarks.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside, cause it ain't about parties today. A bullet don't know a party, so don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ian is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts.
You all know I'm taking the trinkets. If DeSantis is bringing trinkets with him, I'm taking the trinkets. I don't care what you all think. I don't care what you all who put me into office to defend and protect you think. I'm taking the trinkets from DeSantis. So shut up and let this man speak.
Because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
Party started.
It always amazes me how black politicians love to speak to their black constituents as if they are mothers speaking to their children.
Exactly.
You never see them have that type of energy for their non-black constituents when they speak to them.
No.
They're very humble.
Right.
They're very meek.
Right.
They would never speak to them in an aggravated, disrespectful tone. Yet when it comes to speaking to their black constituents, all of a sudden they're mommying you, speaking down to you, as if you're their child who has stepped out of place. This is a constant with black politicians. Now let's take a moment to hear what Ron DeSantis actually had to say.
Right.
Make it.
And they use people like her.
So we have already identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Faison. We're going to be announcing some stuff tomorrow morning, which I think will help not only with security, but also an attempt to help these families. The fact of the matter is, you had a major league scumbag come from Clay County up here.
Not a white supremacist,
right.
A major league scumbag.
And what he did what he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida.
Shout out to the woman in the back who keeps screaming out, he was a racist.
Yes.
Because he was.
Yes.
Something that Ron DeSantis refused to verbally acknowledge.
We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race.
Ron DeSantis literally on a regular basis passes legislation targeted against black Americans based on their race. So it's very interesting that he would choose that statement to make just now.
We are going to stand up and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida. And that means we are going to work with Edward Waters so that they have whatever security they need. In Florida, we've already given a lot of money to Jewish day schools because they've been targeted with anti-Semitism.
Oh, here we go. They always have to bring other groups into the mix, don't they? Every single time. Even in death. Black Americans are not allowed to have their moment. Ever.
Well, let me tell you this. You are not going to target HBCUs in the state of Florida and get away with it. We're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to let it happen. And we thank what everybody's done, TK, the mayor, and just know that the state of Florida stands with the community. Help is on the way. God bless you all.
Right.
Well, how are you going to hold the shooter accountable when he killed himself?
Right.
He's gone already.
Right.
So you can't hold him accountable. So then what does that mean? It means that Ron DeSantis is just talking nonsense. And the reason that he is so comfortable with standing up there in the middle of a hurting crowd who is grieving and feels comfortable enough to speak complete nonsensical gibberish to them, saying that he's going to hold everyone accountable even though the one who carried out the act is dead, so you can't hold him accountable. The reason that he feels comfortable enough to do this and say foolishness like this is because of sellout politicians like Jacoby Pittman, who will come to the defense of Ron DeSantis, cursing out a grieving crowd.
And she's a Democrat.
So
she's
that
a Republican.
she can get her gifts.
Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts.
Once again, this woman is City Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman, coming out of District 10 of Jacksonville, Florida. After this video, her political career should be officially over. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to.
I mean, who gives a shit about gifts and want to get parties started? People are grieving over some trauma. You think somebody in Hawaii was grieving about when they lost their stuffed lady? Do you think that people, someone come say only like he's the only somebody in our community do say some stupid shit like that? You know, it's unbelievable.
Last week, the event was on the campaign trail, and once again, he went to his favorite talking points, using black people to pander or frighten or basically reinforce stupid ideas that particular group of people have in the Republican Party. But the thing is, the people that he's criticizing haven't attacked him, haven't done anything to him. Now, the thing is that the party that he's pandering to, the people he's pandering to, they have come out over the last few weeks and letting me know that they don't trust him. They look at him as a foreigner, even though he was born here. But they look at him as a foreigner. Now he decided, because Nikki Haley and them basically called his ass out on his lack of knowledge about things, he decided that he wanted to pull a Charlie Sheen. And what I mean by Charlie Sheen is that, remember, he's on 2.5 million, and the creator to it may have been named Chuck Lorre. Well, that's not his birth name. Now, what happened is Chuck Lorre is Jewish. But by Jewish men and women, and that's not a trope. That's not a stereotype. That's true. There's a lot of Jews. I guess he figured he would have got lost in the mix, or he just went around and like his name, whatever the reason is given. And Charlie Sheen knew it. And when Charlie Sheen had that issue when he was going around talking about winning a Tiger blood, he decided that he wanted to call out Chuck Lorre. We knew that Charlie Sheen was calling him out because he's Jewish, basically saying you can't work with a Jewish person, you can't trust a Jewish person. Now the thing is, the media, if barely any, ever looked at Charlie Sheen as an anti-Semite or being anti-Semitic. Now, people say, well, you've done commentaries and others have called out Nikki Haley by not using her birth name. We call out because we talk about her self-hatred, her pandering to racists, the things she didn't say about black folk over the years that the media seemed to give her a pass on. Well, Vivek decided that he was going to go out there and call out by her first name, her birth name. But yet, the other day when dude was called out by David Bash over at CNN and Chuck Todd over at MSNBC, he deflected and used that somebody made fun of his last name. But this dude has shown himself to be an opportunist. Matter of fact, they unearthed the video from 20 years ago. He was a college student where he sounded totally different. And I know people say, you sound different young. Not dude, 20 years, your voice don't change like that much. Or usually when you get older, you sound either older or your voice get deeper. He sounds like this now. He smiles all the time. He wasn't sounding like that. He sounded like he was leaning to the left. He asked Reverend Sharp, who was running for president at the time, about his experience. And Sharpton, being who he is, being smarter than people give credit for, he broke it down, and he seemed to like the answer, and everybody around him could cheer. But fast forward 20 years, and I know people change in years, because there were some guys that served in the military that seemed like they was really cool, and now you go on their social media page, they MAGA supporters. But then again, you don't know who influenced people. But Vic, I think he's always been an opportunist. But the thing is, his shit is going after black folk. But I'm laughing that he is trying to basically say Nikki Haley don't like who she is, when in fact he don't like who he is. Yeah, he kept his name. But everything else about him screamed that I don't want to be seen as an Indian. He projects things directed towards other people. You got two first-generation Indians who are both racist, both opportunistic. But I guess Nikki feel, hey, there's only one of us could be up here, and I've been putting all the work in to get to this point. And Vivek figured, well, I'm smart, but he ain't that smart. He was a split. If you go back when I've been reading shit, this dude is conniving. And a lot of people, even on the right, sees. But let me remind y'all, I warned y'all way before everybody else called onto the big shit. I was out there warning people in our community, new black men, say, yo, watch out for this dude. This dude is opportunistic, dangerous. Now, I'm going to leave a link where you guys can read what's going on. But this dude went out there and had a nerve to say, to use her first name, but go around and talk about other people making fun of him or going after him when he's attacking people. Now, Nikki Haley had a right to push back. That's how he did come off condescending and arrogant. He did insult them, and that's why they went after his ass. But the thing is, dude will say anything to ingratiate himself with a particular group of people.
Yes.
Let me say this again. He's doing it at the expense of black people.
Yes.
I just find it funny that he's out there calling Nikki by her birthday, and her campus pushing back, but they not pushing back against him like people did with Don Lemon.
Nope.
Now, Farrah Griffin, I believe her name, over at The View, she called out, I believe the link, she called out for some for Don Wilson by Haley's name. Now remember, this chick ain't white either. I mentioned over the time, I think she's, if I'm not mistaken, Arab. If I remember correct, because she went up on The View one day and she said, I'm not a white woman, I'm a person of color. And she went back and made like she's a white woman. She's not, because if you put her next to to a white woman is very telling. And for her to jump out and say something about dog whistle, but then she'll sit there and dismiss when black people talk about dog whistle. See, whether they're Indian, Arab, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, whatever, they always tell black folk that what we hear is dog whistles or blatant, not even dog whistles, blatant comments, we got it wrong. But when they start turning on each other and start criticizing each other, I get a chuckle out of it. I really do. But Vivek thinks he's smarter than everybody. Mm-hmm. He thinks that he knows more than everybody else. But my thing is that for him to go there in the media is sort of like ignoring this story. Because it reinforced what I and so many others in the black community said, that they would cut each other's throat just to sit at that table.
Yep.
Now, Vivek is extremely obvious.
Yep.
Vivek is no different than Denisha Susan and many others that we've seen over the years. But see, we as black Americans have allowed so many people to ride our coattails, and you may get a stable footing and turn around and they say, you know what, we're going to snatch that coat from you. We don't want the coattails, we want the whole coat now. And they leave you out there shivering. And then you got people in our community talking about pray for them. They don't know what they're doing. Yes, they do know what they're doing.
Yes, they do.
Vivek is 38 years old. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
When he sat there and said that brother and sister were the new grand dragons of the KKK, he know goddamn well the KKK can't stand black people.
Right.
They terrorize, to this day they still terrorize the black people.
Right.
This motherfucker didn't even want to admit that we have a race problem after 3 black folks was assassinated.
Right.
Then he sat there and said there's no such thing as white supremacy. Let me say this again. This cat is dangerous. Nikki Haley is dangerous, but Vivek more so. Because he got people think he's smart when he's not. He sounds like he's smart, but he ain't really smart. He like to interrupt people and pull out shit and don't give them proper context.
Right.
But I just find it odd that this dude is calling Nikki Haley out by her birthday when he don't like himself. Self-hate from both. Self-hate all around. Let me say this again. We need to start calling out this behavior. I'm glad that y'all are starting out here to see what I've been pointing out for a number of years, number of months. I've been talking about Vivek for the last going on 2 years now. And I told you I first discovered this bastard on Bill Maher's show. I'm gonna never forget that Friday. I seen him like, who's this motherfucker? Who the hell is this dude? Said, I wrote my book about the black community, what they need to be doing. Really? Worry about your community. Right. Oh, that's right. You ain't gonna verbally chastise your community. Right. Everybody get excited when they want to blame us with shit.
They sure do. They sure do. Yes, they do.
Our community is going to say, well, you know what? He right. She right. They right. We got that kind of mentality in our community.
That's true.
But my thing is that this dude is going out there pulling Charlie Sheen, using her name, her birth name, and sort of like you can't trust her. She lies about she has self-hate. This dude got self-hate.
Yeah.
They both are opportunists.
Exactly.
But I just find that this dude has a nerve to criticizing people.
Exactly.
When he's out there saying, I'll vote for Donald Trump no matter what. Donald Trump is the greatest president is. He got things done. And even the people at Fox ain't feeling him. Because they know he's an opportunity. They know he's disingenuous.
Right.
But you know what? In order to keep people like Vivek or put him in his place, you gotta be willing to push back on his bullshit.
Right.
And call out his hypocrisy.
Right.
But my thing is, he uses Haley her first name, but this is Haley's Nikki Haley, Nimrata. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Nimrata, that's her name. You went out there and y'all made a big thing about Don Lemon. And both these fuckers made a big thing about Don Lemon. And that's Don Lemon karma, as I said before. But the thing is, they went out there and made a big deal when people who don't like them or tolerate them will say shit maybe had that grin. Oh, you know what? I understand what you meant.
They sure do.
Right. Two people with self-hate.
Because it is the complexion.
But Rashawn,
majority of the people in this country, that's why.
Boy, it just, I don't know. I feel vindicated because I saw it. And I tell you how I recognize it because I've been around people like Ramaswamy and Alien before.
Me too.
It's too damn obvious that they hate themselves. If they could, they would change their skin tone and have a more white name. Well, Nikki, I don't know how white you can get with Nikki.
That's why when you go, I made a video in the past, you go in places like Africa and India, they got skin lightening cream. That's what they do. And you don't think that affect them when they get over here? Yeah, that's what they do. They don't even like their dark skin.
First responders do the incredible.
They figured light and they're white.
And so can you.
It's the truth. I made a video about
plasma. Your plasma donation can help.
Well, tonight the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get into what I said last night about Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. I said before that we need to pay more attention to him and really need to take our time to look at what he is not only saying, but look at his anti-black racism, look into the history of America and why his people couldn't even come over here at one point in time. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy is a first generation. His parents immigrated to this country and he was born here, so that's why he can run for president and all of that. Now, he is would be considered a Brahmin in the Indian caste system. So if he even go back to his homeland, he would be looked at as pretty high class. They're very serious about that caste system over there. But let's get back to some history. So at one point in time in this country, they did not want Indians in here. We're talking about East Indians from the continent of Asia. Now, on February 5th, 1917, Congress passed the Immigration Act of 1917, also known as the Asiatic Barred Zone Act, intended to prevent undesirables from immigrating to the U.S. They say the act primarily targeted individuals migrating from Asia. So at that time period, the United States government said people like Vivek Ramaswamy was an undesirable because India is an Asian continent. As they under the act, people from any country not owned by the United States adjacent to the continent of Asia, as they were barred from the immigrating to the U.S. The bill also utilized an English literacy test and an increased tax of $8 per person for immigrants 16 age of older. Now, they say the new bill at that time was not meant to impact immigrants from Northern and Western Europe, but targeted Asian, Mexican, and Mediterranean immigrants in an attempt to curb their migration. As they one author of the bill, Alabama Congressman John Burnett estimated it would exclude approximately 40% of Mediterranean immigrants, 90% of those from Mexico, and all Indian and non-Caucasian immigrants. They say the bill also restricted the immigration of people with mental and physical disabilities, the poor, and people with criminal records are suspected of being involved in prostitution. Say proponents claim the bill would keep burdensome immigrants from entering the country and thus promote the moral and material prosperity of new immigrants permitted to enter. They say the bill remained in law for about 35 years until the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1952 and eliminated racial restrictions in immigration and naturalization statute. So at one point in time, this country would not want a Vivek Ramaswamy here. The only reason he got to this country is because of the fight of the black American. The fight for civil rights and even just the right to live in this country. He wouldn't have dared came to this country at that time period. Even after they supposedly lifted that ban, Indians did not start coming in greater numbers until about 1975, 76-ish. That's when you start seeing their numbers slowly start creeping up. And remember, in that law, they said that basically they didn't want no poor Indians here or no poor whoever here. They didn't want nobody disabled. They didn't want nobody that had a criminal record. They wanted the top of their country to come here. Now, fast forward to 2023.
if you look at a lot of the Indians that they allow to come here to this day, a lot of them are the top of the top Indians. A lot of them come and go to California, Silicon Valley, a lot of IT work, right? If you look at a lot of African immigrants that come here, they pick the people who's the top of the top. They do not get the regular brother and sister from the continent to come here. If you look at it, they picking people from the Caribbean. They want the educated. They want the top of the line. When they come here, right? They don't want the regular brothers and sisters that's back in those countries.
Right.
Now, even in their own homeland, a lot of times they may not even be liked by the people. So they have no problem coming over here a lot of times and joining in with racism, white supremacy.
Exactly.
Now,
from an early age, we're taught to do what we're told. Look at us.
And I made a video about that. That they it's like that, and in the past about what he's talking about. That there's a certain class, and I give you my personal story, how I was talking with one of them at one time, just as a neighbor, and how the way it's like, damn, it's like, I was giving the paper, they think I was trying to come on to her. It's like they really have this thing about don't mess with them class of people over there. So that's where your Nikki Haley's come in. Your Nikki Haley, because that's why she changed her. Probably got a married name, but her mom is from India. And then you look at the vice president. Her mom is from India, and you see how the way she is. But she went to a black school, but she ride the coattails of her Jamaican father, Kamala Harris. But they really don't like themselves, bruh, sis. I'm trying to tell you, just because someone share your skin color, a lot of them don't like their skin color, even back in there. And so and I show videos when Mahatma Gandhi, when he was in South Africa, he was kind of upset because he was put. One time I think he went to jail or prison for some violation or something like that. He was put in the jail with some blacks from South Africa, and he didn't understand why he would, because he thought that the blacks were lower than him. That he should have been, he should be subjugated. That even though that there were English people that subjugated, there were some white people that subjugated them. But until it was, and I showed a video on that. It didn't get that many views, but it was telling the truth, and that's just confirming what it's saying. And you can see it, and there's some Indians will tell you that they sell, that they're cast out. The darker they are, the real dark complected ones, that they cast out. They tell that they're ugly. If you want to make it be on the Bollywood commercial, you gotta be practically white. They go get European, Yugoslavian, and Ukrainian women to do commercials. That's how much white supremacy on a global scale have affected them. They do that there, and I think certain parts of Korea and China, they want somebody light to white. That's how your Southeast Asians is. Any darker Asians they think is inferior. And they don't want that because it's deemed darker complexion is deemed ugly in their culture. And even some people, I even heard some Indians and children themselves said that their parents wish that they were lightened, and that a couple young women said they almost committed suicide behind that. You don't tell me racism don't affect, colorism don't affect people. But see, nobody want to talk about this truth. See, I researched it. I go back in there and they land. That's why I know. You gotta know what kind of people you deal when it comes. So they bring that same spirit from them different parts of the world and they bring it over here. And then then it was crazy about it. They go to Africa in the Caribbean. It's like, what? It's if you got some comply with the complexion, why are you going to some places where there are darker people than you? I don't understand that. For what the life in it. That's, and some of them filter out to your neighborhoods and old convenience stores and things like that. If you got a complexion, why you in the neighborhoods where darker complected people? And they're the ones that got the issue with skin color. I never could figure that out. Like, are you serious? Because you next to the equator, you think it's because you're going to get to a higher class. It is because that white people are considered a higher class. Fair-skinned people are considered a higher class of people. So they think that if I get next to the higher class of people, and this is what some other, it's not just them, it's other immigrants, that they get to another, then they next to white. But the same people who are white don't rock with them all like that. Some of them don't rock with them because they got jealousy to them. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But when you sit down and think about all because of color of a person's skin, all because you don't like it, you think you're inferior to somebody based on skin. But man, if they only knew the Bible and they could read Revelation 12 and the one that created all the earth, if you can't stand to see a being is in front of you can see, imagine the one that created the world that's describing book of Revelation 12 will tell you what feet like burnt bronze. That means it's darker than any it's in heaven that's sitting at the throne. If you got some problem with skin color, but you think that, I said, that's how supremacy have affected down here. Like I said, I used this. It's a totem pole. Everybody is made to look at the totem pole. America and other places in the world are taught to think that the lesser races are down here. Your Africans, your Caribbeans, and other people, your dark complected people, and then you got your light to white people. And they move it through, and it's in religion too. It's in religion. At the same time, it subconsciously come up in religion. It's in Christianity. It's in Islam. It's probably in Hinduism. Like I thought we worship. Yeah, but our God is lighter than the God, and then they justify it in their writings. Oh yeah. I did one about. I'm sorry to say, it's about the Prophet Muhammad. He thought that I did a video about that. I'm like, oh, are you serious? And they're the black Muslims that have to say the quote, "Peace be upon the Prophet Muhammad." But he don't peace be upon you. Especially when you talk to a faithful black Arab that was Muslim, you know, and he died, and in his namesake, and he just thought that, oh well, basically cursed the black man that gave him honor. I did a video about that. And then you know what the black mean in the Arab, what that means, abid. Skin color does matter. Even in certain areas. Go to Ukraine, it matters. Go to Poland, it matters. It matters. You go to certain places in China, it matters. But we don't want to talk about it. But the same people that show up in Africa and the Caribbean want to come around to inferior people. Ain't that a trip? Even some come from India and them other places. Like, why do you go to some place with inferior people? I don't get that. Then you got these politicians that come in, like Ron DeSantis. He the one that provoked the shit. Now they want to run for president. I don't know, man. It's just, this stuff just gets this. It's crazy. It's really, but it goes to show you. I had to show you the politicians. Watch who you vote for, black people. Watch who you vote for. You got to do some research on these people. Don't just because everybody can, and even in your sellouts, do some research on them. We all know they don't. They'll use you as a puppet to gain what they want. But Ramaswamy's dumb because he's putting this stuff out there. He's so smart that he's stupid. He ain't gonna make it. And I hope that more black people get exposed. You see what kind of, he's an opportunist. Same as Nikki Haley, she's an opportunist. Then Mike Pence and DeSantis, they opportunists. They don't care about you, and they'll use a black person because by party. And you see that she represent the party, but it doesn't matter. Like she said, it doesn't matter. Because if I'm bringing trinkets, if I can keep you oppressed and suppressed, we all right. Think about that for a second. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. Educate somebody. But when you vote for this fall, know what you vote, who you voting for president. And if anybody from across this country in your small poor impoverished community, you gotta know who's gonna be over you. All right then, and who's the sellout? Because in the end, they need to get the hell out. Have a good day. Subscribe till next time. See you.